Sports nerds and geeks from across the universe will converge on the capital city to see celebrity guests such as The Last Dragon, Timok, Megan Tandy, and voice actor Dave Fennoy.
Hey, how you doing? I'm voice actor Dave Fennoy with a shout out to all my geeks, freaks, and urban nerds. Just want to let you know I'm going to be there and I want to meet you at the Urban NerdCon Gaming and Cosplay event. It's happening July 29th through the 31st in Montgomery, Alabama. Hope you want to meet me as much as I want to meet you.
So join us by visiting theurbannerdcon.net for ticket and vendor information. This will be the premier blurred event in the universe. Theurbannerdcon.net. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your fam.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one. Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working.
Never not working.
Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
Oh yeah, I like that. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown, joined for the first half of hour number one, Charles Edmond of the Alcorn State Radio Network. Charles, good morning to you. I see you're outside. You're in Houston, Texas. But good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, I am in Houston, site of Lady Braves softball and Texas Southern. So we've got a big doubleheader coming up here. Down the stretch we come. This is kind of the final official weekend of softball, although we have a 3-game makeup series at Grambling coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday, a series that was washed out at Grambling a couple weeks ago. And we're not in the tournament yet, Carlos. I mean, we're clinging to a 3 spot, but we could fall out of it if things go sideways. So it's going to be a big few days coming up here.
Well, it's tough for my alma mater, Southern University. New
Well,
first-year coach.
I tell you what, Carlos, Southern's in control of their destiny. You know, Southern won yesterday. If they beat Pine Bluff twice, which they should, they got 11 wins. They'll be 11-13, and that might be good enough to make the top 4. And then we've got to play Grambling to get that 4th spot. So Southern right now, I mean, for all the struggles, Southern has a chance to get in. And once you get in, all bets are off.
That is true. I guess I am just so tough on my alma mater as far as the sports. But, hey, first-year coach trying to control their own destiny, I'll take that. But, hey, when you say Southern is a standard, you have high expectations. So we'll give Southern softball new coach, Coach Williams. She'll have a grace period by yours truly. So see, I'm not as tough as advertised. Sometimes I do have a soft heart. Charles doesn't believe that in place. Coming up, guest menu looks like this. Of course, Charles Edmond here on the Carlos Brown Show. Kyle T. Mosley, managing editor and reporter from HBCU Legends, Sports Illustrated. He does a little bit of everything. He'll join me. We'll be talking about the Saints NFL draft. And the simple question is, how many HBCU football players that are waiting to get drafted in the draft will some, all, one of HBCU football players in rounds 4 through 7, which should have started already, round 4 through 7. So Kyle T. Mosley, he'll join me on today's show. Coach Vann Pettaway joins me at the top of hour number 2. We're going to transition to talking some NBA playoffs. Got a lot of storylines going on. Coach Vann Pettaway will join me in hour number 2. And I'll just preface this by saying maybe, possibly, a special guest at 12:30 Central Standard Time. I'll give you more on that. But here's what's trending on the Carlos Brown Show. Southern baseball, albeit struggle remains. Lost 2 of 3 to Texas Southern last weekend. But hey, against the arch rival, Charles's alma mater, Grambling State University, at Grambling for a 3-game series, and it's always tough to win there. But the Jaguars take game 1, 7-6. Which will HBCU football players, will they get drafted? Rounds 4 through 7 coming up starting today. So we're going to look and see. And as the show progresses, if there are any updates, I'll let you know. Southern University has started building a $1.2 million new track that surrounds Richardson football field inside the stadium of A.W. Mumford Stadium. It was long overdue, Charles, that they were able to get a new track thanks to a Coca-Cola sponsor to help Southern University athletics. So a $1.2 million new track, which was desperately needed, is being installed as we speak. Jatiri Carter, hopeful to get the call. Hopefully, to get drafted. Former Southern University offensive lineman. We're gonna pray and hope that not only Jatiri Carter, but all of the HBCU football prospects get a call today. And if not, it'll be the same old free agency. And Charles, I'm gonna come to you in a minute because you were hopeful that, with Coach Sanders now and him deciding that, hey, we've got to go all in and help these athletes get drafted. I'm just not as enthusiastic, but I hope I am wrong on this, but we shall see. And then last but not least, special shout out to Eddie Clark, former Southern University football and attorney in Monroe, Louisiana. I posted it on my on the Coach Brown Show Facebook page. He presented Coach Dooley with a $10,000 donation to the Southern University football team. That is outstanding. That is outstanding. So that's what's trending on today's show. Charles, HBCU football players on social media, some of the prognosticators all thought this was the year. HBCU with the media outlook. Also, it is very it's a good time to be playing sports at HBCUs. The thought was you're going to have a great chance for some of the football players to get drafted. Do you still feel that way? Albeit, the first 3 rounds are already in the books. Now 4 through 7 rounds on the NFL draft.
I was. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't as hopeful going in, and the only reason why I say that is because you're on social media. I'm on social media. You hear the little scuttlebutt and chatter even prior to the draft about some players, a player or players. And I might be wrong here, but I just didn't get that. I didn't get that about players from Southern or Jackson or Alcorn or Queel Glass. You just didn't get that. Now, they may be keeping their teams, might be keeping it close to the vest, who knows? But typically you would hear some stuff, some smoke. You would see some smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire. You're not seeing that. You're hearing one guy mentioned within the last 24 hours. And that's worrisome. It's troublesome. Now, you still got 3 more rounds to go, 4 more rounds to go. So let's hope today we get that. I know Keisha Kelly, who does the Black College Experience, says she's got her VCR and her stuff set on that happening. So the news can be broken. But I'm hopeful, but I'm losing some confidence here because I just don't know if it's going to happen. I hope it does, but it's tough for me as a fan of the SWAC, as a graduate of a SWAC school, as a product of the SWAC. Right now, it's hard for me to see it. If it happens, great. I'll jump for joy like everybody else. But right now, I'm just, my confidence is shaking a little bit.
Yeah, and I could understand it. And really, you want to be enthusiastic, but then when you look at the trends or the historical aspect, if you go back into the 70s, in the 80s, in the yesteryears, I mean, you have the Walter Paytons, the Aeneas Williams, but then you saw a trend where you didn't really see that many players getting drafted. So, from an economic standpoint, we've always talked about it is to HBCU players' disadvantage. The NFL teams, management, ownership, no, they're not drafting them, but then they're getting them, to sign as free agents, and get them on board. But from an economic standpoint, that's good for them. But for the players, you know, you're getting less money as a free agent, and then you can progress and get better contracts if you even make the team. But we thought with the limelight shined on HBCUs, and now in this time and day, you kind of was hopeful and thought that with that you'll get opportunities, more opportunities to get drafted. A Quill Glass. the young man from Jackson State, Jatiri Carter, just to name a few. And there's others. I have the list with me, but I hope I'm wrong. But I I'm not seeing a lot of players get drafted. Should they be? Yeah. And then you talk about the competition, and then they have some like the Saints drafted in at the 19th pick in the first round. Um, Trevor Penny, offensive lineman, FCS level, just like Glass and Carter. So I don't know. It's just tough. Your heart says you're hoping, but from the mind perspective, Charles, you've known what has happened in the past, and the trend is it's better to get them from the owner's perspective, the draft personnel, the scouts, to get them at school.
I would just like to know, and I think if it's not to our satisfaction this year, I think group of us, a group of people, just need to ask the tough questions to the right people. Maybe Coach Sanders can shine some light. Maybe Hugh Jackson can shine some light. Maybe Eddie Robinson III can shine some light. Like, what in the heck is really going on? Is it that coaches, GMs, executives don't want to tell us the real deal because they don't want to hurt our feelings as to why? I mean, at some point, the brutal, like your favorite phrase, I'm gonna be brutally honest. Maybe we need some brutal honesty. I'll take that as compared to nothing. As to it hasn't happened, you don't see it, and then you don't get any explanation as to why. You had the Legacy Bowl, you had the Combine, you had the Alcorn Jackson Valley Combine, you had 11 teams that weren't there at that Combine, but you had a number of teams that were, and just so you see some stuff. But then the bottom line is, as we have these rounds today, if a lot doesn't come out of it, why not? What's really going on? Tell us what's really the mindset of these executives, these GMs, these VPs of football operations. I'll take the hit. I'll take the criticism, whatever it may be, if that's the case. But tell us something, because I think fans are expecting and assuming a big breakout of players today. And if it doesn't happen, then why? Where? I mean, players slide in the draft, players fall off the draft board all the time. But what what's really going on? What's really the mindset when it comes to SWAC players, Aquil Glass and others? What's really the mindset? You see stuff, but then on draft days you don't see it happening. I just like to know why, as a fan of the SWAC, as an Alcorn product, as a Grambling product, you're a Southern product. You just want to know what's the mindset behind the scenes.
And I was looking at the draft, Charles, and Mel Kiper. He's famous. It's just like I reference again the Saints and getting Mr. Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa. And you could hear the comments like, well, he's got a mean streak, he's got the size, but you may have to question the competition level, FCS. We we think about Teron Armstead, who's now with Miami. He signed a big contract and has left New Orleans. But you heard the same thing. It doesn't measure hard. And then here we go again. In the NFL, most of the outstanding players, most of the players, for those who like to go on the star system, there were 3 stars, not 5, not 4. So uh, we see Jerry Rice, Aeneas Williams, Mel Blount in the past. They were able to make it. They were great players. But I guess my point is that's the first thing I hear from Mel Kiper talking about, the competition level. He's got to be coached up. Hell, I think everybody has to get coached up when they go from the collegiate level to the NFL. That I don't know. That's the mindset I believe of the GMs, the scouting departments, the owners. You know, you come from a Power Five school, you automatically are going to make the team. But that's not the case in every case. You remember the big offensive lineman, Mandarich? He was a bust. He was a bust. So, for all of the HBCU football players, keep hope alive. And if you're not drafted and then you're accepted as a free agent, go in and work your butt off. You know, remember your coaching at the collegiate level and go out and try to make those dreams happen. So we'll see, Charles. Round 4 through 7 coming up in the NFL draft, and if we get an HBCU football player that gets drafted during the show, we'll make sure I get the information out to you. Now, Charles, I want to quickly shift to Southwestern Athletic Conference baseball. Who's hot? Who's not, Charles?
Well, right now in the West, it's Prairie View as well as Texas Southern. They've won 5 and 3 in a row, respectively. I think on the Eastern side, clearly Jackson State is starting to find their rhythm a little bit. They won yesterday, but FAMU, Bethune-Cookman on the Eastern side. I mean, that's a surprise. First year for FAMU and Bethune in the East. And then Prairie View, I tell you what, 16 and 4. Coach Antoine Riggins a few years ago, he was walking the chalk line because he couldn't get anything done there, and it looked like something might happen. But he has come from the ashes, and that program is really playing well at this point. They're 8 games over 500 overall. So, Prairie View, Grambling, Shamar Page threw a perfect game, the 34th perfect game in collegiate baseball history, unfortunately, against Alcorn. Grambling 13 and 6. They're right there. I think it's going to be a wild baseball tournament and still some jockeying to take place. You look at Jackson State, they're 8 and 11. You look at Southern University, 11 and 8. Probably won't win the West, but they'll be, potentially a top 2 seed. So I think that uncertainty is going to make SWAC baseball really exciting come tournament time.
Well, Charles, in the West, Prairie View, and last week I talked about, it's like the NBA matchups. One team matches up against another team, let's say A, B. Prairie View matches up well with Southern based on in the regular season last year and this year. Now, let me stop there. Some would say, well, hey, regular season, Southern may be looking at a 3 seed, maybe have a possibility to get a 2nd seed. But the last 2 tournaments, SWAC baseball tournaments, that's when Southern has really elevated their game. I would rather see Southern University win the Western Division and do well in the tournament. Because, you can turn the light switch on, but one time you're going to go and turn it on and it's not there. So Prairie View has played well. Grambling State is still kind of a mystery to me. And I say it only in this sense. They have not had as much success in the tournament. They seem to have done better in the regular season. Southern, as of late, more success in the tournament. And I know you have to make it to the tournament. And then Texas Southern, from the outside looking in, disappointing. Started out great in conference play, but now they've faltered. On the eastern side, will Jackson State continue the momentum? FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman kind of hit a losing slide. Alabama State, to me, has been the most consistent in the Eastern Division, and Prairie View. So consistency right now, in my humble opinion, Charles, Prairie View in the West, Alabama State in the East, and of course, don't forget about FAMU and Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think it's shown itself the last few years in baseball. It is about the tournament, and I think last year was the classic example of that. You had Jackson State go 24-0 in the division. All eyes were on them. They play really well until the last 15 innings of the postseason, and then they fall apart against Southern University, and it all gets washed out. The pressure on those teams that win their divisions is enormous. And I think, for teams like FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, as well as they've played, they haven't experienced the SWAC tournament until until another month. It's a whole nother animal there. I think it's a different kind of pressure because it's the first time in the SWAC tournament. But I do think that you could be playing poorly going into the tournament and you find your groove there. I think Southern showed that last year. But if you're rolling along like Jackson State was, all eyes on you, your margin of error is small because everybody expects you to get to the finish line and then you don't, and it's a big letdown. So I think with SWAC baseball is just a little bit different. We've seen a 4 seed get to the championship game. We've seen a 4 seed win the whole thing. That's happened coming out of the losers bracket. And I think, the regular season is worth talking about, but it's all about what you do when you get to Birmingham coming up in about 30 days from today. And I think that's what everyone's going to be talking about.
Charles, do you see it? We're going at it in a direction again. Regular season versus the tournament. And remember the discussions, debates we've had? And I'm going to say it again. I want both to do well in the regular season. I want my cake and eat it too. It sounds like you're saying, well, the regular season is okay, it's important, but what you do in the tournament? Come on, Charles. You've got to be playing well going into that tournament. I put as much emphasis, if not more, on the regular season than the tournament.
Well, unfortunately, we are in a postseason mindset nowadays when it comes to sports. It's about what you do in the postseason and getting there. The regular season, I do think it's important, but I think from a fan's perspective, it's kind of diminished a little bit. You look at, we won our first basketball. Yeah. We won our first basketball championship in 20 years, Carlos. We get
to the
championship game.
But Charles, well, they did well in the regular season as well.
We did well in the regular season. Yes.
I want both.
I'm not diminishing that. I'm not diminishing that at all. But then people are saying, man, we did not play well at all against Texas Southern, and people are talking about that. Hey, I'm happy for the regular season championship and hoisting a banner up at the Whitney Arena. I'm happy for that. But then you talk to fans. Fans are like, yeah, we'll take that. We love that. But what happened against Texas Southern in the championship game? So more people will be talking about that than the grind of the regular season in terms of you had so many different lineups. You had players in and out, hurt, suspended, whatever the case may be. Not a lot of folks talking about that. And it's the grind to me, but fans are looking at the end result. You didn't win the tournament. I'll take the regular season in a foundation build for next year and getting back there again. But that's not where fans' mindsets are right now. It's all about what you did or didn't do in the tournament when the spotlight is the brightest and the biggest. And when the spotlight was the brightest and biggest in SWAC baseball last year, what happened? Southern, the last 2 innings, 3 innings, got it done. Whereas Jackson State did it all year long. They couldn't get to the finish line. That's all I'm talking about. The 24-0 is great. I think Omar Johnson, if he would rather go 12-12 and win the tournament rather than 24-0 and not get to the finish line, I think he'll take 12-12, to be honest with you. I really do. 24-0 is a great accomplishment, but you didn't get to the finish line, which was the SWAC tournament. And it's unfortunate because it's a one-bid situation. A normal situation, normal conference, another conference, Jackson would have probably got in that large as well, but that's not the case.
Well, I don't know if you can shout it to anybody who's listening or is close to you, but you remember I said the regular season, if you didn't have the term, and I get it, but you've done the body of work in the regular season. If that would have happened, then Jackson State, because based on what they did in the regular season, they would have got the automatic bid. But I get it. Everyone is in favor of a tournament. Also, you look at Alcorn, would have got the automatic bid regular season, but that's not the case. So, to me, it maybe puts more pressure on you, but you've got to. I still think a goal, a benchmark, is to win it in the regular season, and then do well in the tournament and win the tournament. So again, have my cake and eat it. I think we should put a poll out there. I think I think more people will disagree with me. I understand that. I get it. But would you like to see the regular season champion in the one bid league, such as a SWAC, get the automatic bid? Maybe I'll go look at the comments, people that are watching and listening, and kind of get some feedback on that. Charles, I've got 11:26 a.m. I know you have to get out of here at 11:30. So, closing comments about swag baseball, softball, anything, NBA playoffs, the draft.
It's so much going on right now. I got my fingers crossed right now that we get a player or two or three or four or five drafted here in these last few rounds. I'm hoping for that. Um, the transfer portal is hopping again. You're hearing about that. Um, and then you're going to talk with I think you're going to talk with Coach Pettaway, right?
Yes.
Travis Etienne. The rumor is that Travis Etienne, one of the better guards in this conference at Texas Southern, is transferring to Southern. That's kind of the scuttlebutt that you're hearing, and that is probably the biggest news in SWAC basketball, men's basketball in the offseason. If that happens, that's a game changer, Carlos, because Etienne was terrific. We couldn't get a handle on him, still haven't got a handle on him in the 3 meetings. He is a volume shooter, and I think Southern needed that, especially against Alcorn at our place. If that happens, look out.
Well, I did hear of this. We'll see if it's officially or when it becomes official. I'll try to remember to ask Coach Pettaway. Also, by the way, in baseball, a big out conference win for University of Arkansas Pine Bluff over Memphis.
Yes.
Coach James, great job and your staff. I know he's kind of been under the weather lately, but hey, we always talk about out of conference games and wins. This was a big one, 2-0, I believe, over Memphis.
4-pitcher no-hitter. 4 pitchers it took to no-hit Memphis.
I'll take it.
To no-hit any team is outstanding, but it takes 4 pitchers to do that. I think that speaks more volumes than anything, because different arms, different velocities, that's very hard to do. And for UAPB to do that, that's something special. That's probably the highlight of their year. They're probably not going to make the tournament. And Coach James has kind of been going through things. I saw him a few weeks ago. He's still trying to get himself right, and I know he will. But that was a huge win for UAPB and for the conference. So in baseball, we've had the 34th perfect game. Shamar Page will probably be pitcher of the year, and you've had UAPB throw a no-hitter against a quality team in Memphis. That says a lot about SWAC baseball.
And tournament coming up very shortly. It's going to be, I think, very competitive. I'm also willing to say it could be wide open, but I'll stick with being very, very competitive. And we'll see in Birmingham what happens in the SWAC baseball tournament. Charles, be safe. Continue to be safe, and Godspeed in your travels. And we'll talk with you next week.
I appreciate it, Carlos. Thank you.
All righty. That was Charles Edmond of the Alcorn State Radio Network, live in Houston, Texas. By the way, Houston, Texas is one of his favorite cities to be in. Want to say good morning, still good morning. Chuck Hunt, Greg Johnson, Denise Sims, Michael Cavalier. Good morning to everyone. Troy Franklin, good morning. Brett Thornton, Sean Derek Perkins, good morning. A.K. Drew, good morning. So, and Johnny Johnson Jr. Going to take a time out. Let's see if I can get my next guest ready. Scheduled to join me is Kyle T. Mosley. He's a managing editor, HBC Legends, Saint News, Pelican Scoop, also Sports Illustrated. He's scheduled to join me next. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network. I'll be right back.
One bite of 100% Angus beef ballpark frank, and you'll say, hello, summer. Oh yeah, it's ballpark season.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
The old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Let's get back to getting ticks instead of watching flicks. Before we can safely get out there, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your crew.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Now I'm going to bring to you our next guest here on the show, Kyle T. Mosley, managing editor, head reporter, HBCU Legends, Saints News, Pelican Scoop. He's done a little bit of everything and also a Morehouse alum. So I look forward to really talking with him. We're going to talk some Saints, NFL draft picks, and HBCUs, players. Someone will come off the board. There he is. Kyle T. Mosley, good morning, sir. How you doing?
Man, I have arrived. I'm with Mr. Brown. What's going on? How you doing, sir? I have made it.
No,
I feel like these I feel like these HBCU guys about to get the call. Thank you. I got the opportunity.
Well, we were scheduled to have you on a couple of weeks ago, but technical issues. But no, I feel honored, Mr. Morehouse alum, and reading your work and seeing you on different platforms. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to have you on, sir.
Man, look, thank you very much. And I applaud everything that you guys have been doing over the years. Been a big fan of everything you, Dr. Cavill and those guys have done. And, I just think right now we are at a juncture in HBCU sports where we as media need to continue to work together, continue to lift everybody up, as well as these players and these institutions that need our support and our coverage.
Well said. I agree 110%. 110% because, at the Black College Sports Network, it'll be coming up in a little bit of a 1-year anniversary on the network. So, yeah,
Oh,
you're
wow.
absolutely
All right.
right. We need to work together and, put it out there, opinions and everything included, articles,
Awesome.
shows to continue to put the word out on HBCU athletics. And we're going to come to that as far as football players in the draft and hoping that they will have the opportunity to make it to the NFL level. We'll get to that during our conversation. But I want to start off first. I'm a New Orleans Saints fan.
All right. Who that?
Yes, sir. Kyle, your thoughts on the Saints draft picks so far?
Everybody that they needed in the first round, they got. They needed an offensive tackle. They needed a wide receiver, Chris Olave. Everybody thought he was going to go to the Saints, but they thought it was going to be a little bit further down at number 19. But the Saints also had the 16th pick as well, and they were vying for one of these offensive tackles. So I think Mickey Loomis as well as Dennis Allen, they were concerned that Olave may be off the board, so they decided to do a trade up into the 11th spot, and they selected him. They waited, and they kept their 19th pick, and they got Penny. So the big 6'7" offensive tackle from Northern Iowa. He's a nasty guy, very tough guy, and as Dennis Allen said, he's a New Orleans Saints type of guy. Then in the next rounds, they didn't have the third round pick. They had second round pick, and they were able to select the young Tennessee Volunteer, Mr. Taylor, who is Mr. Versatility, as Mel Kiper would have said it about him. But the thing you like about him is that Dennis Allen knows how to use guys in different type of packages, especially within the defensive backfield. He and Chris Rashad will be able to set him either at cornerback or safety. May, who they brought in from the Jets in free agency, he's going to be more of a strong safety. So this will give a guy like him, Charleston Gardner-Johnson, those guys, the freedom to roam in that defensive package, which a lot of teams are throwing 4 wides at them anyway, right? So you have to have as many defensive backs who can be able to cover and protect against scoring. So I think I would grade them a B at this time. There haven't been any splash guys, right? But I think I have to agree with New Orleans Saints, especially Dennis Allen. These are the type of individuals they usually go with, especially Ohio State guys. They love Ohio State guys. I don't know why
Of
they
course.
just have that, and University of Tennessee guys too. It's just they have a penchant for getting those two colleges and getting productivity from those players that come from those colleges.
You're absolutely right, Kyle. Historically, they've done that with Ohio State. And then when we look in the first round, you saw you saw a lot of wide receivers picked by the NFL teams, including the Saints. Chris there from Ohio State. But one of the most intriguing, and I'll get your thoughts, you've mentioned him, Northern Iowa's Trevor Penning, 6'7", 325. And when I'm watching the draft, Mr. Mel Kiper was talking about physically imposing offensive lineman, very athletic, dominant run blocker. But he also mentioned that he's going to have to be coached up. Discipline got a lot of penalties, but I think it's for being very aggressive. And then he mentioned Northern Iowa and being in the FCS, the competition factor. But then we look at Teron Armstead, who's now on with Miami Dolphins. The same questions were brought about him. But I think Mr. Penny, I mean, I like him. That disposition, he's nasty. I think he's going to be an eventual starter. But the FCS, a lot of the prognosticators, they talk about that. But I really, if you're a player, you're a player. Doesn't matter what level you're on. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Carlos, it's the argument that has been against FCS as well as HBCUs for the longest, right? Coaches at the NFL level feel comfortable with Power Five players.
Mhm.
Let's just get this out the way. That's the
Yeah.
comfortability factor, right? Then you find you have guys from the FCS. Well, Cooper Kupp, look what he did in the Super Bowl run for the Los Angeles Rams, right?
Yeah.
FCS player. You look at Teron Armstead, FCS, as well as HBCU. You look at Darius Leonard, perennial All Pro from South Carolina State University, HBCU. So the talent is there. Now, I've talked to like James Houston, and I've spoken to Jay Jackson Williams from FAMU, right? Both of those guys played in Power Fives. Houston at University of Florida, and Jackson Williams played at San Diego State. Those guys said there's one thing: I don't see the difference in the talent that I played against. Okay, so I think the negative connotations that you get from some of the coaching and the executives is just what Dr. King used to say in one of his speeches long time ago. You are uncomfortable because you don't know that person. If you get to know that person, you can be able to be more accepting of that person, right? And the only way you can be able to be accepting of HBCU talent is the exposure as well as the access to them. And I think over COVID, as well as what has happened the past couple of draft cycles, is that the exposure wasn't there. Plus, you didn't have a guy like Deion Sanders who is getting the word out. You didn't have the TV exposure from the ESPNs on a grander scale. You had some televised programs here or there. You had the NBC network doing the Bayou Classic here and there, but that was it. It was limited. But now you have more and more guys, and you have guys like Travis Hunter, who is going to just be a stud at Jackson State, decide to be able to take his talents to Jackson, Mississippi. All of these things are kind of snowballing in the favor of HBCU schools, but they still have to be able to put out a great product, and hopefully in 2022 we'll see that.
Visiting with Kyle T. Mosley, managing editor, head reporter. You do great work with Sports Illustrated, HBCU Legends, Saints News, Pelican Scoop. I'm going to get to the Pelicans before we get through with this conversation.
Man, that was a fantastic run, boy. Yeah.
They're on the upswing, but we're going to come back to that. And then we're going to go back to some of the players, hopefully, that will get drafted on day 3. But I want to follow back up with the Saints. And what do you think the Saints will be looking for in rounds 4 through 7? I always like to talk about needs versus wants. You have needs, but if it's somebody you're interested in or multiple players, then you go to maybe what's the best player available on the board. But where do you see the Saints? What are they looking for in day 3?
Well, Saints still they have a good linebacking core, but Demario Davis is 32 now. Even though he's all pro for the past 3 seasons, you're going to need someone to back him up. They did not sign Quan Alexander, even though he came off that torn Achilles. I know he's been training with Dr. Reef in Miami, Florida. Still, he's looking good from the videos that I've seen. So they're going to probably need some upgrades in the linebacking core. They're going to need some upgrades. You saw what they did with the defensive backs already. You still need to have one of these tight ends that you can be able to be consistently focused on and worried about. I don't think right now you have a tight end in the building that can give you that type of production. And then need running back. And I'll be honest with you, nobody knows what's going to happen with the superstar Alvin Kamara after that arrest and the alleged attack on the person in Las Vegas. So what's happening there? I know his trial, not trial, but the hearing has been delayed once again. So those are kind of snowball effects there. They could possibly use a quarterback. Look, I'm going to say this. If Aqeel Glass is there, he fits in the New Orleans Saints area very well. Why not have a guy like him and with his talents be able to sit behind Jameis Winston a couple of years? Let's see what the young man can do. Let's see how he can be able to mature. We're talking about a guy who has a master's in civil engineering. We're talking about a young man who is smart, who's thrown for over 12,000 yards in the SWAC, has been the two-time Black College Player of the Year, as well as the two-time Offensive Player of the Year for the SWAC. Why didn't he get an invite to the NFL Combine? Nobody knows. But let's see what he can do if he's given the opportunity, as what Eddie Robinson said of Doug Williams. All he needs is an opportunity.
I would agree, an opportunity. And boy, Kyle, the way you laid that out, if he could get to the Saints, sit back, observe on the professional level, and then when the opportunity presents itself, then a shot to be a starter. I seeing him firsthand play, I agree.
Yeah.
He's definitely deserves an opportunity. HBCU players, that was one. Jacoby Durant, cornerback for South Carolina State, Jatiri Carter, Southern University. I really believe that I would not be surprised if Marquise Bell, safety for FAMU, I would not be surprised if he's the first one to come off the board at HBCU. But some of the players that you think will have a shot.
Well, you laid out three great ones right there, but you can't overlook Joshua Williams from Fayetteville State. Did you see him leap in? I think they showed a video of him in the basketball gym, and that kid was like skying, almost had his arm in the in the rim, right? James Houston, the problem. The guy has the instincts. He's been around the ball. He understands how to get to the quarterback. If you notice in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, as well as the East-West Shrine Game, he was consistently attacking the quarterback. He didn't have any recorded sacks, but I had at least 7 recorded pressures by him. And he was always affecting the plays. So look at James Houston. I know most of these teams may not immediately start him or give him that opportunity, but he could possibly be a great asset on special teams, and he said he's willing to play wherever. Michael Badjo from Texas Southern is another one. D. Anderson, Keith Corbin. You go down the line, you have a lot of talent. You have a plethora of talent at HBCUs that could possibly make it. Ezra Gray, Alabama State Hornet, man, why not give him a chance? What's that kid from PV? Is it Brown? I believe, Ladanian Brown, who ran a 4.2, 4.3. I think that kid, Brooks is Ladanian Brooks, the running back from Prairie View. He ran a 4.3.
Yeah.
And I think he tied for the best time that was even at the NFL Combine for a running back. So Keontae Hampton is another guy that you can look at. Now, I spoke to quarterback legacies, Ramon Robinson, Coach Ramon Robinson, he told me Jawan Pass has been getting some calls and fielding some calls as well. There's a possibility Pass, if he doesn't get on in the later round, like a 7th round, he may be on somebody's undrafted free agent list. So even if these guys do not get drafted, Carlos, they will have some opportunities to be able to make a roster if given that opportunity on the UDFAs.
Yeah, traditionally and historically, you do have that route for a lot of the HBCU players. Got a chance to watch the Legacy Bowl, and Deshaun Dixon, defensive end for Norfolk State, they were talking about the
He
great
was all
practice
over the place.
conditions.
Look, I was on the field, and I saw him, especially that 3rd and 4th quarter. He was getting to the quarterback. Yeah, he's a good, talented young man as well.
Yeah, that's a name to keep up with as far as getting a shot on the next level. Kyle, now we're going to turn to the Pelicans. Let me say this. I'm a big NBA fan, and, I get a lot of grief sometimes. Every now and then I get a nasty email. I'm a Miami Heat fan since
Okay.
2006. But I have to give credit where credit is due. When I'm not pulling for the Heat, I pull for the Pelicans. 4-2, they lost to Phoenix, but what a series. They fought hard.
Yeah.
Willie Green was very emotional at the end because he coached and knew a lot of the guys on the Phoenix Suns, and then of course Monty Williams, an outstanding coach. All of that being said, the prognosticators are saying that this New Orleans Pelican team is moving in the right direction. What do you feel as far as the great showing they had in the playoffs and then moving forward going into the next few years?
Do you see where the Memphis Grizzlies are at this time? That's going to be the New Orleans Pelicans next season. The confidence is going to blossom, right? Think about this. Willie Green, a rookie coach, took a 1-13 team. Then at one point they were just 3-20 something, right? And did not have a chance coming out that All-Star break. Then acquire CJ McCollum, and which may be the best free agent acquisition of the season, right? Then go on the run, beat the Lakers to get to the play-in, beat the Spurs to get to the play-in, get into the play-in, beat the Spurs again, beat the Clippers, right? Doc, think about what they did to be able to get where they were. They beat some very talented teams that were ahead of them. Then to push the number 1 seeded team in all of the NBA to the brink, pretty much. Whenever a coach like Monty Williams said, if you were listening to the broadcast, he said, "I'm tired of this. This has to end now," right?
Yeah.
That means those guys were in their heads. They really gave it to them. And to have rookies like Jose Alvarado, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy III, to be able to contribute in such a huge way in critical moments of the game. Think about the faith that Willie Green had in those guys. Do you not think that's going to be a confidence builder for those guys coming next season? Look what we were able to accomplish with Phoenix, who may go on to win the NBA championship. Think about this. So if they go on to win, we push them. We know we can compete. That's going to give them bodes of confidence. I wrote about this. I saw this back in 2006, Carlos. There was another team in New Orleans that had a rookie head coach who brought in several rookies and made it all the way to the NFC championship game, right? You saw what those guys did 3 years later to be able to hoist the Lombardi trophy. Sean Payton had a rookie crew. He had free agents splattered all over the place. And then he was able to get there with his free agent quarterback that a lot of people didn't think he was busted. Look, I'm going to tell you this, Carlos. I don't know, and you're a Saints fan. A lot of people don't realize this. And a lot of these Saints fans who love Drew Brees now, when he was first acquired, they called him hot garbage.
Yep.
Because of his arm. That was what they were saying. He wasn't going to last. He wasn't going to be able to do anything. He proved them wrong. And I think C.J. McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Giannis, and all those guys, they have a chance to be able to prove a lot of people wrong. And if you just have that Zion Williamson on the floor, whoa, you talk about a great lineup. Think of what they're going to be able to do next season.
Now, and listen to you talk about that. When you talked about Drew Brees, I'm going to talk about Mr. Williams. And if he's able to get, and I hear the Charles Barkleys and everybody, I've asked the questions with Coach Pettaway. He's due for an extension. That's one thing. But for him, I think it is most important to get in the best shape possible. Hell, you can hire a nutritionist, a chef, and you get it done.
He has a chef.
That is the equivalent. Yeah.
He has a chef.
Wait a minute. He has a chef? Well, okay.
He has a chef. Zion has
better.
a personal chef at the house. Trust me when I tell you this. He has a chef.
I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. But he must. I don't want to say he's like Anthony Davis, who's injury prone. Maybe it's just a string of bad luck. But it's important to say all of this, adding Mr. Williams to this team and making sure he is in the best position to help. The sky's the limit. Can you see this team in the top maybe 5 in the Western Conference at the end of next season, or even higher? What do you think?
Even higher. I think even higher. So if you bring in Zion, so Zion before the injury averaged 27 points a game. He was their leading scorer in 2020 to 21, right? And they missed him all season long. They still made the playoffs, as well as pushed the Suns without him as well. So if you add the element of Zion Williamson to your offensive as well as defensive production, and you may not have to play him 30, 40, 50 minutes a game, right? Do you not think that the Pelicans are going to elevate? I think adding Zion can possibly give them plus 15 to 20 games. That's all they need. Think it, plus 15 to 20 games. They were at what? Was it 36 this year? So if you add that factor,
52?
yeah, you add that factor to what their abilities are with him on the floor. You have a superstar in him. You have budding superstars and these young talented guys, and Brandon Ingram is a superstar in his own right, you know, and all of those guys are going to mature. CJ McCollum has found his calling as a point guard and not as a shooting guard and off guard. So, yeah, you have that ability. Plus, I think they need to possibly add some depth, probably add another shooter to the mix. I know Trey Murphy is that guy that they really love, but I think that you still need to have somebody, another shooter. Larry Nance Jr. came in big to help them out. They're still on the fence about what to do with Jackson Hayes going forward because he may be due a huge contract himself. But you have a great foundation at this moment for the Pelicans to be able to use as a footstool and jump to the next level.
Well, Kyle, I'm going to mark this down. 12:01 Central Standard Time, April 30th. No, I agree. They're going to be much better. I love the coach, but a top 4, we'll say top 5, top 4, or even better.
Let's say top 5. Yeah, I think next season in the Western Conference.
Top 5?
I'm sorry. Yeah, so say in the Western Conference, definitely in the top five. In the all of NBA, I would say probably top 10. How about that? Just to it'll be their second season all together as a crew, but I think they still has so much upside to them that you have to like what you see, and the fearlessness. Think about it, the fearlessness. Those rookies were cold as ice. Herb Herb
They were.
Jones. I
Oh,
know there was
tremendous.
some. What's the young man from? Was the Hawks? He was rookie of the year, but Herb Jones didn't get enough due for what he was able to do as a rookie and as his defensive prowess on the hardwood. Man, it's just was remarkable.
Yeah, defensive specialist, I call him, and he's going to, I'm sure, develop and be a. I look at him as being a very good two-way player.
Yeah,
So hopefully
yeah.
next year, it's what will I do? Miami Heat versus the Pelicans in the championships? Oh, no,
Yeah, the
I
Heat
won't be torn. I won't
developing.
be torn. I have to go Heat first.
Well,
But
Butler has been trying to get there, man. So,
yeah, well, that
G,
is
Jimmy
interesting.
B.
And with my next guest, we're going to talk to some more NBA, but wow, Philadelphia. My best friend is a Philadelphia 76ers fan, and boy, they were dealt a severe blow. Mr. Embiid, wow, he's out for the rest of the playoffs. You know, I still can't get too happy. They're still going to
Yeah,
be, I think, I'm still going to look at them as a tough opponent, but you want to beat a team at their full strength, if that makes sense.
yeah. Well, injuries are a part of sports,
Or the
and
game. Yeah.
it's just part of the game. And it's usually the healthiest teams who win the NFL titles as well as the NBA titles. Yeah, it just happens that way. When you are healthy and you have I would say most of the complement of your players, you can win. If you don't, if you have nagging injuries and you lose a couple of key players, you usually find those guys getting to a playoff system or postseason but losing.
Well, I would agree. Kyle, it's been a pleasure talking to you for the first time, but it won't be the last time. I really enjoyed it. Morehouse, quickly, a Morehouse fact.
Yeah.
I know Dr. King, but something that maybe the audience doesn't know about Morehouse that you can provide us with some information.
Doesn't know about Morehouse. I mean,
I mean,
when
everybody
back in my
knows, but
day,
it's something we don't know.
well, back in my day, man, we had a great basketball team. A lot of people don't realize that. And Morehouse had a pretty good basketball team this year. They lost in the tournament, but they went on a 19-0 run at one time. And Morehouse has a great golf and tennis teams as well. So, they have some good auxiliary teams. But look, man, Morehouse was a great place it was besides just the books, but all the people who were there to help us. Like when I was turning in my voter registration card, Coretta Scott King was in the building, you know? So, I mean,
Wow.
things like that, the history that we were able to be a part of and see and witness and have the historical figures to come talk to us on a weekly basis at our chapel, it was awesome. That's what really helped us to become Morehouse men.
Wow. I appreciate that. And I've learned some things that I didn't
Yeah.
know. Well, Kyle, it's been a pleasure. We'll talk again real soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And, shoot me a text if it's breaking news as far as HBCU football players
Yeah,
getting
no one
drafted.
yet, man. No one yet. Look, I even seen a kicker from LSU get taken by the Browns. So you've got to be able to get one of these
Uh,
HBCU guys into the
yeah,
fold,
I
right?
agree. Yeah.
But Carlos,
I-
look, man, thank you. I appreciate it, dude.
no problem. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll talk again real
Same to
soon.
you. And
All
guys,
right. Oh, well, he was about to make another I'm sure, important announcement, but we appreciate Kyle T. Mosley being on today's show. We're going to take a quick time out. When I come back, I'm scheduled to visit with the Carlos Brown Show's basketball analyst. That's Coach Vann Pettaway. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network. I'll be right back.
Are you ready? It's time. The inaugural Urban NerdCon is coming to Montgomery, Alabama, July 29th through the 31st. Blurs, nerds, and geeks from across the universe will converge on the capital city to see celebrity guests such as The Last Dragon, Timok, Megan Tandy, and voice actor Dave Fennoy.
Hey, how you doing? I'm voice actor Dave Fennoy with a shout out to all my geeks, freaks, and urban nerds. Just want to let you know I'm going to be there and I want to meet you at the Urban NerdCon Gaming and Cosplay event. It's happening July 29th through the 31st in Montgomery, Alabama. Hope you want to meet me as much as I want to meet you.
So join us by visiting theurbannerdcon.net for ticket and vendor information. This will be the premier blurred event in the universe. Theurbannerdcon.net. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one. Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
You got it.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working.
Never not working.
Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Nothing like the human jukebox to just make me feel much better. The smile on my face. Gotta love the jukebox. Next guest on the Carlos Brown Show is Coach Vann Pettaway. Coach, good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Carlos. I'm doing great.
Yep. Well, you look great in your maroon and white. Last week we talked about the new coach at Alabama A&M. Charles Edmond asked me to get your thoughts on Mr. Etienne. I believe I'm pronouncing the name right. That was playing for Texas Southern. He has indicated that he is going to transfer to Southern University. And Charles Edmond, not me, said that is a game changer.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I agree. He's one of the top players in the conference. He's a two-way player. Does a good job on both ends of the floor. So I know Sean Woods is smiling now.
Yeah, well, I guess now some of the Southern fans will kind of get off him a little bit, give him a little breathing room. They're so looking forward to Southern University maybe winning a regular season championship or SWAC tournament championship. We won't get into that debate. Me and Charles had one about regular season versus the tournament. So I'll spare you that conversation, Coach Pettaway. But I definitely want to get your thoughts on this NBA playoffs. And look, I got everything put down on paper. So I'll make sure I get to all the points. First, Coach, the Nets got swept. And I'll just say this. Everybody, at least everybody, most of the prognosticators had the Nets. They were an explosive team. You got arguably two of the best players in the league, Durant and Irving. But they got swept, Coach. What is your thoughts on that by the Boston Celtics?
Well, to me, they had no continuity. They hadn't played together enough. When Kyrie made his decision not to get vaccinated, I think that hurt the team chemistry. And so the chemistry wasn't there. So you cannot win games. I don't care how talented you are if you don't have team chemistry. Well, and so that it was not. I wasn't surprised that they lost. Even with them playing together, it takes a while for you to get into a rhythm, for you to know your other players. Okay, you got to learn the players, and then you got to learn the coach's system, how he subs and that kind of stuff. So all of that was missing because they never played together long enough. So it did not surprise me that they got eliminated.
Coach, were you surprised the experts picked, and even in Vegas, that the Nets, they believe was going to go all the way and win the championship? I understand you didn't, but are you surprised that the experts thought that much of them to make them the odds-on favorite?
But they were right. Remember, at the beginning of the year now, they had three of the top players in the league on the same team. You got to remember James Harden was part of that. Then you got Durant, who is probably one of the best offensive players in the league. And then, of course, Kyrie, with all the things that he can bring and the problems that he creates on the floor. So coming into the year, they were right in picking them to win it, being one of the teams to play for the championship. But, see, that never materialized. Kyrie made sure that it never materialized. He made sure that when he didn't get vaccinated, when he didn't want to be all in. See, in basketball, the numbers are small, so that's why you got to have everybody all in. And they were not all in.
Coach, it's the true team sport, in my opinion. The number one team sport. Who gets most of the blame? If you had a pie 100%, is it coaching? Was it Durant? Was it Irving? Or it was a combination of all three or something else?
I think it was a combination of all three. You can't put everything on the coach. You got talented players that didn't come together, didn't do what they needed to do in order to be successful. So, being in coaching, to me, we as head coaches, we accept the blame. But when you really look at it, we don't play the game. The players are the ones out there playing the game. And if they're not together, then that coach is not going to be successful, and that's what happened.
Is Boston the best in the Eastern Conference right now?
They certainly look like in these first couple of rounds now. They're playing well. You know, that's a boy, they're getting after it, man. They get after people. That's a tough out. That's a tough out. Milwaukee's got their hands full. But when you look at it on both sides, you got the 2 and 3 in the East and 2 and 3 in the West. So you know, so it's going to be interesting.
Boston, defensively, you're right, just outstanding. I would say Miami is number 2 defensively of the teams that's in the playoffs. And boy, and
Carlos.
Speaking of that, go ahead. Yeah, I can still hear you. Maybe we lost Coach Pettaway. But I was going to talk to him about Miami as far as defensively. They're probably number 2 behind Boston. But to his point, the Boston Celtics are really, I mean, defensively, they're athletic, and they can really wreak havoc on teams offensively. And, Coach, you were saying now with Milwaukee and then Middleton is not going to be available for that series. It was going to be tough with Middleton, but now the Greek Freak, now it's still going to be tough. They defensively wins championship. Let's look at that series.
Well, I think Boston right now, they're playing better than probably any team in the league right now. And with Middleton, injuries have already decided these playoffs. With Middleton, with that injury being out, there's no way I can see Milwaukee staying on the floor with Boston without him. I don't see them winning 7 games, winning the series without him being on the floor. So to me, the advantage goes to Boston, which is a 2 seed. And then when you even look at on the other side, 2 versus 3, you got Golden State versus Memphis. So that's going to be an exciting series. But I think most of the people are probably going to hang their hat on Golden State, even though Memphis is the number 2 seed. I still think that a lot of people are saying that Golden State will win that series. And then you all probably got the best gift that was ever given out. When Embiid went down, that paved the way for Miami to make it, to advance. There's no way Philadelphia can beat Miami without Embiid. And you know, the last time he had an orbital fracture, they had to do surgery, and he missed a huge amount of time. So missing any games in the playoffs is going to hurt. And then, of course, when you got Phoenix, the number 1 team in the league, they're going to play against an inspired Dallas team. But I don't think Dallas is going to have enough in their tank to beat Phoenix. I think it's Booker. I think that this rest, these days off, is giving them an opportunity to rest Booker some more. And so I think Phoenix will win that series. But this is some exciting basketball, man. We're seeing some great performances. We're seeing some great teams. And then we just finished watching a great series when what they better start looking out for, they better look out for them Pelicans. Because I heard part of you all's conversation. I think the Pelicans are a team of the future. I'm not sure about Zion Williams, and I think I heard you all say he has a nutritionist or a chef. He must not be listening to him. Or he needs to fire him. He needs to fire him. He got to regroup because somebody's not doing something right.
Well,
because if he's got somebody preparing his meals for him, they're preparing the wrong meals.
Or he's telling them what to prepare and not
right. That's what I'm saying.
What he wants versus what he needs.
Correct. So that needs to change.
That was my last guest, Kyle Mosley, and I learned that he does have a chef. That was surprising to me. But you mentioned if we go back to injuries, And what was the term you just used? Well, before that, the gift that keeps on giving. Let me ask you this, Coach Pettaway. Would you have had Miami favorite if Embiid was not injured?
No, to be honest, no. I had Philadelphia
What?
because of Embiid. Yep, I had it. Even though
You had
Miami
Philly
plays
beat
tough
Miami,
defense,
Coach.
hey, Butler can't guard. Butler is doing a great job, but he cannot do anything with Embiid in that post. So he
you mean a bio?
Right. Well, Bam. At some point they're gonna switch it off, and Butler will end up having to guard him down in the low post, and that's not gonna work.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough. And speaking of that series now, Mr. Harden, who once again the experts and the prognosticators, they believe he's lost a step. Do you agree with them? And what's going on with that? Is it age or what?
Either he's lost a step or he's hurt and he's not telling people. He's not the same person.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I was thinking about this and the game plan against Philly. This is before Embiid was injured. Defensively, Miami did a great job on Trae Young, albeit Trae Young is a foot smaller than Mr. Embiid. But defensively, they switch out and they perimeter defense, which sometimes has been questionable with Miami. They did a good job. But back to the game plan, it was try to contain. I don't believe you can stop Embiid. But then those other players, those role players, that's who you couldn't let them beat you. And now with Embiid out, you still got to have the mindset of, hey, they're a very dangerous opponent. And I understand what you're saying. You said no way. But Miami and Philly, before the injury, it was going to be a great, great series. But now, things are different. And so you're now taking Boston to beat Milwaukee.
Right. And I
Miami
got Miami over Philly. Right. And then I got Phoenix over Dallas. I got Phoenix over Dallas, and I got Golden State over Memphis.
Now, Memphis, Mr. Morant played well. But one thing I noticed about Memphis, they came behind 3 times in the series. I think that's in double digits, those large of deficits, and they were able to make history. But I would caution them not to do that against Golden State. I don't think if they get down by 20 points to Golden State, it's over.
They're not coming back.
No. And Memphis is kind of like they're Jekyll and Hyde in a way. They get behind, but they came back. And shame on Minnesota. Actually, they should have won the series. Could have, would have, should have. You're up with big leads in 3 games, and you lose it. How would you consult both Memphis and Minnesota going forward after the playoffs are over with?
Well, in Minnesota's case, that team has got to come together. They played too much hero ball down the stretch. I think that hurt them. They took some bad shots, man. In that game last night, there were shots. There's no way Town should be taking a 40-footer at that time in the game. And it wasn't just last night. When they lost the lead during the series, it's because they didn't make good plays. They didn't make basketball plays. Those were more like personal goals that some of those players were trying to do. And you're not gonna win when it's like that. I don't care what level you're on, you cannot do that. And certainly, if they want to move forward for next year, Minnesota, they got to do a lot of soul searching. They got to do some soul searching. They got some talent, but talent doesn't always win. They didn't play smart down the stretch. They keep saying that they're young. You got young players on every team. Some of them just some players are smarter than others. And I thought they made some big mistakes. And they got the hero ball came into play, and that's what cost them. And then when you look at Memphis, To me, they rely too much on their best player. You can't do that. A point guard, a guard that has to shoot, has to get to the basket. Morant is not going to take them to the promised land if everything's got to be on his shoulders. They got to play better team basketball if they want to advance. But I don't see them advancing against Golden State anyway.
Now, in the West, I think it'll come down to Phoenix and Golden State. Dallas is very, very dangerous. And then in the Eastern Conference, it'll come down to Miami and Boston. And boy, the last time they met in the bubble, it was exciting. But now, based on in the right now, it may be some ugly games because they're both very good defensively. Could we see ugly offensive games or low scoring games, or will we be surprised?
Both of them rely on defense, and Miami is. I'm telling you something. Miami and Boston are playing the best in the East. That they're gonna knock each other out. That's gonna be a very tough game. That's gonna go back to old school basketball. I don't think it's not gonna be a finesse game. I think it's gonna be a physical game. I think we're going to be reminded of the Detroit Pistons. Watch what I tell you.
Wow. The bad boys. Interesting. Both of them great defensive teams. And let me ask you this, Coach. They say defense wins championships, but with Boston, they are very athletic. I mean, Brown, smart defensive player of the year. And then Tatum. I guess to me, Tatum maybe has made the most progress from last year to this year, or am I wrong? And then Brown doesn't get a lot of the credit, but he's a great two-way player to me.
Right. They got three players that can match up with anybody on any team. They got three studs on their team. They got three guys that'll really get after you. And to me, that's why they're a dangerous team. Because they're just not relying on one or two people. You got three of them that all three of them are going to share the basketball. They're going to look out for their teammates, and they're not looking to play hero ball. They spread it around. They play team basketball. And that's what makes Boston so tough. And that's why Miami has to really play tough defense. They got to play tough defense when those two teams do meet.
Yeah. Last thing, Coach, back with Miami against Atlanta. Hunter's a terrific player. Atlanta is very athletic. But I know you look at the game differently than I do. Once again, explain defensively how Miami was able to just take Trae Young out and why they're, besides Boston, right, after Boston, a great defensive team.
Well, I think what Miami does, they play physical basketball. See, you look at Trae Young, look at his build. He's slight. He has a slight build. So when I say physical, you got to lay on him. You got to put your body on him, and that's what they did. When he went to the basket, they punished him, man, and that takes effect over. When you keep accumulating hits on that body, it's going to slow you down. It's going to take away your legs. You take away the legs, you take away the jump shot. You take away the legs, you take away some of that quickness. So they neutralized him by playing good team defense with him. They didn't just rely on one person. They played team defense, and they wore him down.
And Coach, to your point, Bam, about 6'10", but you notice PJ Tucker they shaded him wherever he went, but then PJ Tucker and Bam can really play a guard 1 through 5. That is how well he has played. We'll see if we can get Coach Pettaway right back because I really want him to answer that part about switching and being able to have a player who's a center, but that can play stretches of defense 1 through 5, Coach.
Right, he can step out. Bam steps out. When they go to that pick and roll, he was able to step out and send Trey away from the basket. He couldn't just turn the corner and score when Bam was doing it. And when you got all 5 of your players can switch on the defensive end of the floor, it makes you have a better overall team defense. And that's what Miami has in their favor. They play great team defense. They're not just relying on 1 or 2 people to play defense. They do a team concept.
Oh, I see my cousin just text me and says, Carlos, you're just giving up on Milwaukee. Really? No, I'm just saying, Bob. All right, cuz, we'll talk to you later. Boston and Milwaukee is going to be a good series, but it's 5. I mean, Middleton injuries, as you stated, injuries have really, really played a part in these playoffs, and even with Miami, Lowry and Butler, nothing serious, but not playing to Monday should help them. But hamstrings, they're just tough.
Yeah,
Anytime ask Mr. Booker about that.
Right. Anytime that hamstring is a tough part of the body. Anytime you see those type injuries, he's not 100% now, and I think that's going to show up in that series now, because if they push him, that's why to me they still got to restrict his minutes because it takes a long time. The only thing that helps hamstring is rest. You can't do that with the playoffs.
Yeah, and then to me, you thinking about how far you can push yourself. You're wondering, and you're not able to, with a hamstring injury, be at 100%, both physically and then even the mental part, Coach. I mean,
right.
I had a hamstring injury before, and it was like, oh my goodness, I'm thinking, can I do this? Can I do that? And that's as a non-athlete at the time. So hopefully these injuries won't rear their heads again in this playoffs. So next week we'll come back, or in the next 2 weeks, get your opinion on who's going to win it all. We'll see how the semifinals in both conferences, how they're going, and then maybe you can make a prediction, or if you want to wait till the following week to make a prediction. But the NBA playoffs, I mean, they've been fabulous, and the crowds, Coach, even though we're still in the pandemic, the atmospheres have been pretty good, except for, I will take a shot, Miami's crowd is more laid back.
That's South Beach.
They need to get more enthusiastic to me.
Yeah, but that's the way they do it in South Beach, though.
Yeah, well, hopefully as they continue to go deeper, hopefully in the playoffs, the crowd will be back. Coach, to you and your family, continue to stay safe and be blessed, and we'll talk with you next week.
All right. Thank you, Carlos. Everybody be blessed and stay safe. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. Have a great rest of your weekend, Coach. That was Coach Vann Pettaway here on the Coles Brown Show. Now, we'll take a time out. When I come back, I kind of had maybe a special guest. I'm going to see if that's still going to happen. But one thing for sure, I'll be back regardless, one way or the other, special guest or not. You're watching the Coles Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network. I'll be right back.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
One bite of 100% Angus beef ballpark frank, and you'll say, hello, summer. Oh, yeah. It's ballpark season.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Let's get back to getting ticks instead of watching flicks. Before we can safely get out there, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your crew.
Oh, unbelievable. A middle-aged moment. Wow. That scenery, I'll tell you, it's just truly outstanding. You got to love HBCU bands in all of the parks. Welcome back to the Coles Brown Show here on the Black College Sports Network. Special guest. I didn't reveal the name, but I'm going to reveal it now. He is a 2022 signing football student athlete for Southern University, Marcus Cunningham, via Butler Community College, 6'3", about 230. But I'm going to ask him where he's at now, because when I talked to him briefly yesterday, he was coming from a workout, but glad to have him on the Carlos Brown Show and Southern University, area of need linebacker. Without further ado, let me introduce Marcus Cunningham here on the Carlos Brown Show. Marcus, good morning. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, good morning there in Oregon. Afternoon here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But Marcus, talk about the recruiting process. How did you get familiar with Southern University, and how did all of that go, eventually signing with Southern University?
Yes, sir. And you guys can just call me MJ. Y'all don't gotta call me Marcus.
MJ.
I'm a junior, so I go by MJ. To be honest, I was getting recruited by a lot of different schools. Really, when I had left Oregon, it just didn't really work out. So I ended up going to junior college. I had to do that. And then I was in junior college. I was getting recruited once again by a lot of different universities and stuff like that. And then I was actually coming close to the decision. I was going to go to another FCS school. It wasn't a historical black college, but it was another FCS school. And then that just didn't end up panning and working out. And then I had someone I knew that I actually work out with back here in Portland. He actually went to a HBCU as well. And so somehow he got into contact with Coach Clark and stuff like that. I guess Coach Clark already kind of knew who I was when they were at Prairie View, I believe. But I guess the former linebacker coach they had didn't like my size. He said I was too big to be an off-ball linebacker. He thought I was more of an edge rusher or something like that. So when they're at Prairie, he didn't really like me. And once Dooley and them got over to Southern, and obviously a different linebacker coach, stuff like that, my name was re-brought into the room. And this time around, the coach liked my film and everything like that. Coach Clark called me that day, called me back, and they offered me a scholarship that day. And then ever since then, they was just real. I like the vibe that I got from them. Coach and staff was just straight up with me, told me how it was going to be and stuff like that. And obviously me being an older guy and already being through the recruiting process, a couple of times. Obviously, like I could see through the BS, and there was none of that. It was just everything straightforward. And I just believe that Coach Dooley and what they could do for me and help my career going forward.
And then getting on your official visit at Southern University, you talk about the vibes. How was that actually that visit on the campus? Now, I try to be objective. I'm a Southern graduate, but hey, I'm sure you
You biased.
enjoyed the visit.
Yeah, nah, it was definitely different. I'll say. I mean, obviously, I've been to the South before, but I've never been to Baton Rouge. I've never been to Louisiana. So it was different, but it wasn't too much different. The only thing I really told a lot of people that was really different about is you see more people that look like you. Um, Hospitality was great. The environment was great. Everywhere we ate, people were nice. Even when we didn't eat and we're just out, like, when I'm out with players or I'm out with other recruits, everybody around is nice. You hear a lot of things about Baton Rouge and stuff when you don't live there. And then once you get there, it's like, nah, this it's cool. Like, it's a good place. And they kept preaching everything's a family. They kept preaching everything's about family and seeing everybody do good and stuff like that. You hear that everywhere you go, but then you actually get there and you're like, okay, like you can actually see it. You get the vibe that this is a more of a family environment. Everything's oriented to push you to get better, from academics to football to just living and stuff like that. Like everybody's just cool and it's a family environment. So that kind of took it over once I got there, more than just football and everything like that. Like everything that they were already preaching to me before I got there actually like stood out once I got there.
Yeah, more like the vibes were great, the family atmosphere. And it's interesting that you say that, coming from Oregon into the South. And sometimes when I've traveled different places, they have a preconceived notion about the South now. But I will tell you this: the humidity is is
Yeah.
is interesting. But you look like you're in tremendous shape, so I think you will get
Yeah.
acclimated to that as well. But I must ask you, because one of it's a place they call the Blue Store, and they're famous for their chicken wings. Were you able to partake of that, or is just the food and culture in general?
uh, Food and culture in general, but no, we didn't go to anything like that. I think I can't
Okay.
even remember the places we went to go eat. But I would have known it was that, but it wasn't that. We went to like some ribs place one day, and then a couple places after that. But all the food was great, so I can't. Obviously, I like to eat and stuff like that. So I know I'm gonna get around to it. But on the visit, we didn't get around to that.
Well, remember that the Blue Store chicken wings. Next
Blue
time I
store
talk
chicken
to
wing.
you, after you
I got
after
you.
you hear, you will remember. It will come clear to you what I'm talking about. As
Yes,
far as,
sir.
and I've saw some of the huddle footage. What will the Southern fans and alumni see for as the strengths of what you do on the football field? Describe your game.
I'm a field general first and foremost. I know everybody think of linebacker. You think obviously I am a oversized human, so I can start there. But uh, I'm a field general. A lot of people actually don't know. I played quarterback a lot growing up. Really, little league and through all that, I played a lot. But in high school, I played quarterback. So my sophomore year of high school, I actually played linebacker. I actually played an off-ball linebacker at that time. I did play edge rusher, but that's when I got all my accolades. Um, First team state league, all that type of stuff. My junior year, I played quarterback, and then my senior year, I broke my foot. So a lot of people don't know that about me. And so after that, going into Oregon, I was still kind of, I would say raw. I would still say I'm kind of raw. Since then, I've only been playing linebacker like 4 years, I guess. My 2.5 years at Oregon, and this past year at junior college. So I'm still pretty raw, but I'll say field general, just because being quarterback and be on the offensive side of the ball, you got to be very smart, very intelligent. And I think that just kind of helped my transition into linebacker as well, just because I know certain things the quarterbacks and stuff are looking at. So first and foremost, I say a field general. I'm gonna get everybody lined up. I'm gonna make sure everybody on the field know what they got to do. I'm gonna know what I got to do, but I'm also know what they got to do. So I like to be in control of everything. Obviously, being a linebacker, the physical part is going to be there. You guys are going to see that. A lot of big hits, a lot of big plays, a lot of energy. I'm going to fly around sideline to sideline, and I'm just going to give everything I got. To be honest, that's the type of player I like to describe myself. I want to be physical. I want to be a field general. That's really about it. I feel like as a linebacker, that's what you got to be able to do. You got to be able to get everybody lined up. You got to be able to play the whole game, all 3 downs, and just fly around and have fun. I feel like when you have fun with the game, it makes everything easier. Not overthinking stuff. You just out there playing to play. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a game. So just got to play your game.
I'm visiting with MJ Cunningham, Southern University 2022 football signee. Is there anything that you feel that you have to work on or get adjusted to
Oh,
coming to the Southern
definitely.
University?
I think you can always everybody always says it. It's always room for improvement, but I think the physicality part, especially being a linebacker, just you can never be too physical. So to get more physical, obviously dropping back in coverage, I think that suits me a lot. I'm really good at dropping back in coverage and stuff like that. So I don't think that'd be too hard. But obviously sharpen my tools on that. But the most important thing is I just want to come out and early and often. I would say early and often the first couple of games to show my dominance and show my experience from coming from Power 5 level. That's just something I just really want to do. Just the first couple of games, just not even play with nobody, just really show just how dominant I can be early and often.
Earlier, we talked about teamwork and via social media. Another signee, Jason Greathouse, and I saw this outstanding poster, Bad Boys for Life. And it's also always about building relationships. Talk about your relationship with Jason Greathouse. I guess I know I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
you guys when you get to the program, but talk about that relationship.
It all started on Twitter. Really, Twitter always start relationships
Mm-hmm.
in a way, not Twitter but social media. So it started like that. He had hit my DM, I think before the visit, because I think we all were on the same visit. So he had hit my DM, and then we were just cool from there. Just started chatting, talking about Coach Clark, because obviously Coach Clark is his position coach, not mine. But Coach Clark was like the main recruiter with me, so it kind of like built that mutual little relationship, that little bridge gap we had. So it's cool. We just really hit it off, to be honest. From the first time we just started talking, we just talking, chilling, yada yada, talking about Southern. This is even before we was committed, just talking about like how we liked everything, and we was gonna see how the visit was, and then we just got down on the visit together, and we both liked it, enjoyed it. The vibes was good. It was fun. Um, Terrence, I think Dunlap may be his last name. He was there on the visit with us as
Mm-hmm.
well. He played the transfer from Troy. He was there. I got a good relationship with him as well. So I would say those are the two dudes for now that I would say I know the most coming in with or on the current roster. I would say whatever you want to call it, but them two dudes would be the two guys I would say that I have a relationship with the most right now. And I think we all just coming in on the same mindset that Coach Dooley is bringing us in to uplift the standard, bring the standard back. So that's what we all trying to do.
That's very interesting. But building relationships are always important. MJ, it's now at this present time great to be at a HBCU. Student athlete. I'm sure you perhaps seen the schedule, but you got the Jackson States. That's a personal rival for me. So, and you guys play Jackson State on my birthday, October 29th, within the Bayou
That's my
Classic.
birthday as well, sir.
Excuse me?
That's my birthday as well, October 29th. I've already seen that game. That one circle.
Wait a minute, October 29th?
Yes, sir. That's me.
Blessings to you. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
my birthday, and Jackson State. Everyone who watches this show and know me, they know that's a big game. It's a little different than Grambling State, but the Bayou Classic. But
Yeah.
have you guys peeked at the schedule, or that's something you don't do? You're just ready to get
Nah, I
there and
look.
get to
I
work.
look. Nah, I look at the schedule. I ain't one of them dudes that's gonna sit here and say I don't look at the schedule. I don't do that. Nah, I look at it. I don't take too much of it. Like, damn, boom, 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 boom. But I like to know, like, for the most part, obviously, I respect everybody. I respect every team. I'm not going to say this team is that team is this, but
Right.
I like to look at the schedule to at least get an idea of, all right, boom, this team is pretty physical, this, and that. So during this stretch, I just like to be ahead of the game. So I know, like, during this stretch of games, I might need to get a little bit more treatment. Around this stretch of games, you got to know, like, you got to take care of your body a little. This stretch, you might be a little bit, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So that's what I look at it for, just to know how many heavy hitters we got back to back, or if it's like this week, this is going to be a pretty good game. This week we should be able to take care of business, stuff like that. But I don't just look at it and just be like, just let it go. I just, take a peek at it.
Yeah, like Jackson State, Alcorn State, the conference games, FAMU in the conference now, Bethune-Cookman. Like I said earlier, it's a great time to be a student athlete at a HBCU, and
Definitely.
in this
I think a
present
lot of
time.
the guys that's transferring and going to HBCUs as well is just making them more competitive, and that's another reason why I did pick Southern. We haven't kind of really got on much of that topic yet, but that was one of the reasons why I really came to Southern, just because I think I could be another one of those guys that have came from a Power Five and could come and bring the attention back on where I feel like it need to be, where it should be, where it started. So I just feel like I could be another one of those big names that could come and just help. A lot of the guys, obviously, we're going everywhere, but a lot of the guys do go to the Jackson States, the FAMUs, and stuff like that. So me coming to Southern that was more of it. You know what I'm saying? Like Southern standard, that's something Coach Dooley always says all the time. SWAC stands for Southern Won Another Championship, stuff like that. So I'm just trying to be one of the ones that could help provide and open that path back up to what it used to be.
I would agree, and everyone kids about the drip of Coach Coach Dooley.
Yeah,
He's well dressed, and he's, to me, now this is
definitely.
my opinion. He's kind of laid back, what we see, but I've heard
Yeah.
in practice it's very competitive. And your position coach was on last week, Coach
Okay.
Graves. Now
Yeah.
I don't know if he's calmed down a little bit, but boy, he is who he is. I appreciate him
Yeah.
as well. And as we came into this interview, this is part of the atmosphere too. The Human Jukebox, the band.
Yeah.
That I don't think you have at a Power Five. The
Nah,
special
you don't.
band.
Definitely. Definitely special. Of course, you got your bands, but it ain't nothing like that. And like me, I'm one of them dudes that I kind of like to get ahead. So like right now, since I'm not enrolled and all that stuff, I don't have access to film and everything. So all the film I watch is on YouTube. I watch all the last year games. I've already watched all of them. I
Mhm.
watched every game that Southern has played. I've seen what teams like to do against us. I've seen our weaknesses. I've seen our strengths, stuff like that. So I'm just trying to do everything I can. So once I get there, I'm prepared and we can just get it rolling. My plan and Coach Dooley and their plan for me is to come in and be locked in for the next 2 seasons, but it's really only a year and a half because I'm going to get there July right before camp. So next year and a half, just be locked in and do everything I need to do to, like I said, to bring Southern back to where they need to be, but also accomplish my goals and dreams and aspirations.
Yeah, I could notice the IQ, the football IQ, and when we kind of talked briefly, you were coming, I believe, from a workout. How important is
Yeah.
that? 'Cause we always talk about football. Back in the day, you could come to camp and get in shape. You can't do that now.
Yeah.
It's an
Nah.
uh, all year situations. But how's your off season training been so far?
Uh, I work out 5 days a week. I work out Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday I get off, of course. Um, Monday and Thursday upper body, Tuesday and Friday lower body, Wednesday all core. So I got a trainer out here in Oregon. He works with a lot of professionals. Kendrick Bourne is one that come to my mind early just because I grew up with him kind of. He's a receiver for the Patriots. He bring his teammates down here all the time. So like we had Debo Samuel down here last year working out with us. I got to work out with Quan Alexander. I still at Oregon at the time, but it was about 2 years ago when he played on the 49ers. He brought Quan Alexander down here. You guys should know him from Louisiana. So
Yeah,
I got to pick
Saints.
his brain. Yeah. So I got to pick his brain with him a little bit, and we still locked in. So it's crazy because I was just talking to them about it. I'm like, it's crazy how the world worked. Like 2 years ago, I met him working out with him every day, and I was going to Oregon, and now he's playing for the Saints, and I'm going to Baton Rouge, and I still contact him and talk to him to this day. So like the world just works in mysterious ways, but yeah, that's why I just wanted to throw that in there, add that in there. But I work out, like I said, 5 days a week, and then got my meal prep and stuff like that. I eat a certain way. Like I pick it up every Sunday and stuff like that for the week. So just really taking care of my body. I feel like me not being at Southern right now, working out with the team, obviously being there and building that camaraderie and grinding together is the best way to do it. But right now, I just feel like I'm trying to train as a pro. I'm trying to do everything I need to do, like I said. So in the next year and a half, I could be one of the ones on the screen. So that's just all I'm really trying to do right now.
Yes, sir. Well, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure talking with you. And what I take from this discussion, football IQ locked in. Um, I was impressed with looking at the film on YouTube. That's kind of what I have done, reviewing the games last year for Southern University, and particularly that Alcorn game, that Jackson State and Fayetteville.
Definitely.
I'll get over it, but it has been a pleasure talking with you. One last thing, a couple of points. Who is your favorite NFL team? I think I may know, but let's see. Who do you follow? Who's your favorite NFL team?
To be honest, I kind of it kind of hard now because I got friends that's in the league, and they play for a couple different teams, so it'd be hard. But my like team I really like, I like the Chargers. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Chargers fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's something about the Chargers ever since LT. Because when I was growing up, like I said, I was playing a bunch of different positions, so I thought I was a running back at first. So I liked LT and the Chargers, and then I kind of branched off a little bit because they was front management was making me mad with Phillip Rivers, and he was getting old, and we wasn't letting him go, and so I had to dive off a little bit. But then it's just like I said, I got a bunch of friends in the league now, so it's like I played with Justin Herbert for 2 years, and then now he's on the Chargers, so it's just like stuff like that. So it kind of made me come back full circle. But yeah, I like the Chargers. One of my best friends also, he's a cornerback. I was probably with him every day at Oregon. He plays for the 49ers now, so I like the 49ers as well. But I got a couple other friends that got drafted over this weekend and is going to get drafted tonight. So I kind of don't like to pick, NFL teams. I kind of just like to watch and learn, to be honest. Because when I watch games, I honestly just I just watch the defense on both teams. To be honest, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, when I'm watching, I just watch the defense on both teams, see what they do, try to pick up certain stuff, try to see if I can guess the coverage before, the reporters like that, just stuff like that. So I just enjoy really watching the game, to be honest.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. NBA, I've seen your social media
Oh
comments
yeah,
about
I'll
games.
be giving my opinions on Twitter a lot. I like watching because I used to play basketball a lot growing up AAU, so I did all that stuff. I did the gauntlets and all that, the Adidas travel teams, the Nike travel teams. I did all that growing up, so I really enjoy basketball. I enjoy sports. I watch baseball. I watch it all. You probably won't believe I watch hockey at sometimes. It's just if something's on, I'm gonna watch it. But NBA. Right now, I like the Celtics a lot. I like the Celtics. I just like big wings. I like people who are big and can score the
Yeah.
basketball. It's something about it. Like I like guards and Steph Curry and all that. LeBron's my all time favorite. You probably a Jordan guy or something, but I like LeBron as my all time. I got to see him. I got to watch him. I never, I didn't get to watch Jordan, so I don't want to speak on something I didn't get to see or witness myself. But I know it was greatness. But right now, I like the Celtics. That's the team I like right now. They play good. They it's all about a mindset with them. They play hard. They play physical. They play both sides of the ball, not just one. And I don't know. They play really fun basketball to watch. And there's a lot of teams now in the NBA that they're not playing fun basketball. You don't want to watch them. But the Celtics, I don't think either with you liking them or not, I don't think they're a team that you like, oh, I don't like watching them play basketball. They play a good brand of basketball.
Well, MJ, my team may see you. My team is the
Who
Miami
you
Heat.
like?
The
Okay.
Miami Heat, the
Yeah,
second best defensive team. So it could be a
definitely.
collision course. We'll see. And if the
Y'all
Celtics
better
win,
y'all
I'm on
better
board.
hope Joel hurt, man, because he a different type of animal down there in that paint.
Yeah, the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, they'll face him without Joel. Well,
Definitely.
MJ, appreciate the time, man. I'm very
Thank
impressed.
you.
Look forward to seeing you down at Southern University in
Yes, sir.
July and helping this Jaguar football team. Their slogan is Southern is a standard. Coach Dooley, offensive guru, has a great staff around him, and his drip is still number one in the
Definitely.
conference. Maybe in uh,
In the country.
football in general.
In the
Yeah,
country. We're gonna go ahead
that's
and
right.
say it.
Yeah, you're right. But enjoy the rest of your weekend. Appreciate
You
having you
too.
on, and go Jags.
Yes, sir. Go Jags. Appreciate you. Have a good weekend. Thank you for having me.
All right, you too. That was MJ Cunningham. Um, I had him as a special guest. Wasn't sure, but guess what? He came through. He gave his word, and I really appreciate it. I'm getting a bunch of text messages as we speak, so I'm sure they enjoyed hearing and listening to MJ Cunningham, 6'3", 230-pound linebacker, formerly from Oregon University, a native of Oregon, coming to Southern via Butler Community College. He's looking forward to coming and helping Southern University. I want to thank Melody, producer of today's show. Bang up job. All the guests, Charles Edmond, Kyle T. Mosley, Coach Vann Pettaway, and MJ Cunningham. And all of you who watched, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Black College Sports Network, the Carlos Brown Show, all the shows that are on the network. Dr. Cavill's Inside HBCU Sports, the pregame show, the OG Strike Factor, all of them. Until next Saturday at 11 a.m. for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Until next time, as always, peace and God bless.